My guys, how the ruddy hell is it going? You good? Listen, we're back on some kind of horse here on the channel. Things are flowing, you know, and I got a lot of catching up to do in that sense. Because 2022 has been a busy one, and that's meant that, you know, I haven't reviewed everything that's come out. I'm not bloody Superman, all right? I don't wear glasses. But I do have the ability to talk about things that happened in the past. Pretty crazy, I know. So that means one thing and one thing only, and that is that it's time for another TLDR reviews. Now, this is going to be a little bit different to the other ones I've done. I don't know why I said I've done one of these, but usually I like to keep this to like a 3-film roundup per video. But I had a very busy few months, and as such, when I came to sort of look at this and pick the 3 films for this video, I realised there's quite a few that I could probably do with chatting about. So today we're not going to talk about 3. We're not even going to bloody talk about 4 or 5. We're going jumbo, baby. We're going to be chatting about every single cinema release of 2022 that I didn't do a full review for. But before you jump to conclusions and click away thinking, that's way too many films, Stu, don't worry, it's not too much. Because I'm also a very busy human being as well. So this isn't every 2022 cinema release. This is every 2022 cinema release that I saw. But it's still more than 3 though, so if that was your decider, I'm sorry, my guy, this one ain't gonna be for you. So yeah, you saw the intro. It's time to chat about every single cinema release from 2022 that I didn't get around to doing full reviews for. I do hope you're buckled in and ready to go, because this thing's going around 40 to 50 miles per hour. But before we get into it good and proper, we've got to get the housekeeping out of the way. Look, if you like this video and you want to see me do more shit like this, likey, subscribe down there. Click the bell icon. Helps everyone. Unless you've got a horrible phobia of buttons that have bells on, in which case it's not helping you. Don't go near it. Should we talk about some movies? 16 of them! That is a handful, actually. I know I just done a whole bit there about how I haven't actually, but 16 does feel like quite a lot. Should I be doing this? Studio 666. This is, of course, the Foo Fighters film, which came out. I didn't really know it was just like, hey, the Foo Fighters are doing a film. Have that. Listen, in this house, we love the Foo Fighters. We love Dave Grohl, absolute living legend. Perhaps unsurprisingly, it wasn't very good, like as a film, but it was good as a watching Dave Grohl and the gang do horror movie shit. It was fun. If it wasn't the Foo Fighters in it, I would have been like, hey, that was a god-awful horror film, what are you doing? But they are in it, so... But I'll tell you what else came out this year, The Batman. Have I chatted about this film? I feel like I must have chatted about The Batman on the channel, right? This was good. Really good. Like, just a decent Batman film. I really enjoyed this thing. We love Robert Pattinson, we love Zoe Kravitz, we love Paul Dano. Everything this film's got going for it is like a tick in a box for me. And it delivered as a super engrossing detective film that also happens to be a Batman film, right? I couldn't shake the feeling that it was sort of treading a lot of the same turf we've seen before in the other gritty Batman films. And I'll be honest, I wanted a bit more detective stuff. Like, obviously the Seven and the David Fincher influences are all there. I love that shit. But like, when it came to actually solving things, I did kind of feel like Batman was just... He cracks a lot of these riddles a bit too quick for my liking. I would have happily watched an extended film where the dude just can't crack any of these things. Like, that would have been way better. There is a world where that would have been much... You know what? Maybe they shouldn't have done that. But I'll tell you what else delivered. X. I can't believe I haven't talked... Have I talked about this on the channel? X is the latest horror film from Ty West, and it's this kind of very stylized, schlocky sort of 70s homage about a crew that are going to film a porno on this sort of side barn of this old couple. And the old couple do horror movie old couple things to them. And I really, really enjoyed it. I was surprised at the different things this film goes into. I thought it was just going to be a very surface level, if not still hugely enjoyable homage to old school schlocky horrors. And it is that, but it also weaves in some really interesting thematic stuff that I didn't expect it to go to. But ultimately, it was just hugely fun, and I kind of love Mia Goth, so like, I'll watch anything she does. And she crushes it, and it's got some good kills, it's got some good scares in it, and it's just fun. It was just a hugely enjoyable time in the cinema, and I'm very, very excited for Pearl. But another low-key one that came out in cinemas here in the UK that you may or may not have seen is True Things. I actually saw this at the film festival last year and wasn't taken with it particularly at all. I just thought it was fine, completely average film. But then it came out in cinemas here in the UK, and it was a Mubi Go film of the week, and I was working with Mubi on some bits, so I went for free, why not? And I was hoping it would be better, and it is sort of stronger in some ways on second watch, but it's still just kind of fine. It's got Ruth Wilson in it, and the guy from The Souvenir that, I can't remember his name, but he's very good at playing toxic men in relationships. That's just his typecast, which is Not a great typecast to have, to be honest. It's very well presented, well edited, well performed. Like, the pieces of this film aren't necessarily bad, so to say, but that's exactly sort of why it kind of doesn't end up doing a lot for me, because it feels like we've seen this done in a more interesting and better way from a lot of previous filmmakers before. But another one which I caught for free, I think, was Movie Go. But this is just becoming a Movie Go advert at this point. I swear, Movie haven't paid me for this stuff. But I didn't know anything about it until it was out in cinemas, and that was Prayers for the Stolen, which is a brilliant film, like a super impactful film, which I just loved. I thought it was fantastic. I'm not sure exactly how to categorize this one. I guess it's like a coming of age film, but it's not a coming of age film. Like, it's not like we're going to college and we're learning shit about ourselves. Like, that's nowhere near that. It's a Mexican film that is about a trio of young girls living in a hillside village that is under the rule of the cartel. But it's a super engrossing and different approach to that sort of cartel genre that I've ever seen before. Gorgeously shot, brilliantly performed, and like super emotionally impactful. The end of this film was like sit with that for a while kind of thing. But another UK 2022 film release that I'd seen already at the film festival and just had a chance to go check out when it came out again over here in the UK is Benedetta. But it's a shame that I never chatted about it on the channel, because I really, really enjoyed this film. And the first time I saw it at the film festival was like that was something, and I liked it, but I don't know like how much I liked and disliked certain things in there, and there are definitely things which bugged me. But watching it a second time solidified all the things I do enjoy about it, and I really, really enjoyed this a second time around. It is, of course, the nun-sploitation film from Paul Verhoeven, it's Paul Verhoeven. It's just got really campy elements that work really, really well. It's got a really good sense of humor in there. But it's also got something vaguely interesting to say about organized religion. But it's got laughs, it's got shocks, it's got gore, and it's got kills, and it's got nuns, and it's got wooden dildos carved from the Virgin Mary. So, like, Benedetta. But the next film on the list is one which, again, I saw twice in the cinemas. Wild. At a press screening, and then it was free on Movie Go. Jesus, I swear to God, I'm not getting paid for this. That film was Happening, which is a French 70s abortion drama. And yes, you're right, that was very tough to sit through twice. My God, this film is impactful and horrible, but also stunning. There is stuff in this film which is so difficult to watch in such an authentic way, which is it's horribly uncomfortable. So I have to say, if you're going to watch Happening, just bear in mind that it is tough. It's a very tough watch. But it is also, and this isn't a good thing at all, but it's just the way the world is at the moment, it's a very vital film as well, I think, for a lot of stuff that's been going on with women's rights in the world in 2022. I recommend it, but just be aware that it is intense. But listen, we've been talking about a lot of indie films, low-key films, banger ones, but let's go to some tentpole stuff, huh? Sense the sarcasm in my voice. I'm sort of done with big tentpole studio filmmaking in 2022. Well, not big studio Marvel. We're going to Marvel is what I'm trying to say. Listen, I'm feeling very fatigued with the Marvel Cinematic Universe at this point. This phase 4 is it? What the fuck has it been? What has it been? It's been absolute shite. All that to say, I saw Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which I know a lot of people were gassed about, pumped about. I was sort of like, yeah, I want to see it for Raimi, right? I love Sam Raimi, so that was the hook for me. I didn't like it. It wasn't a good film. More frustrating, I think, for me, because I'm a Sam Raimi fan, which is interesting because I've seen a lot of people sort of go one of two ways on that. Some people were like, the Sam Raimi-isms are why this film worked, and I'm glad to see them in there, and it made it better for me, so that's why it was good. But then others were like, what is the point if you're just getting a watered-down Marvel version of Sam Raimi stuff? I'm in that camp, that's me, that's what I was thinking. I wrote that. It definitely has a Sam Raimi fingerprint on it, but it does feel like a filtered Sam Raimi fingerprint. Like, it almost feels like someone mimicking Sam Raimi, even though we know that it is Sam Raimi that made this film. Just not a good film. Nonsense. Not as crazy as it needed to be. Marvel, it's so lazy as a multiverse film. It's like, hey, we can go to all these infinite different universes with Doctor Strange. So what are we going to do? We'll just go to, I don't know, one where he's a bad with a mustache or some shit. Just pick nuts ideas and do it. And you can do it because you have a multiverse to let you come up with a plot device that allows you to do stupid, crazy shit. Use it. Fucking use it. So thanks for that, Doctor Strange. Oh, also, just all the Scarlet Witch stuff. Like, Motherfucker, come on. Vortex is another film which came out in 2022 in cinemas. It's the latest Gaspar Noé film. And this film was devastating. Absolutely broke me and ruined me. It's about an old couple that live together that are going... it just makes me sad even just thinking about this film. The wife's mental abilities are deteriorating. The husband... it's just... this is a sad film, my guys. But it has this device of being split screen and seeing both perspectives, which is a really fascinating way of approaching a story like this. And I actually think works brilliantly for this theme and this style. It's just a really interesting way of delivering a story like this. It's very slow, but it's very engrossing, and it means that it just becomes all the more impactful for it. And it's just, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's tough. It's a fucking tough film, man. It's a big recommend, but like a specific recommend. If you're feeling very happy, don't whack on Vortex, because you're not going to feel happy very soon. But on the flip side of that, on a nice, enjoyable, happy tone, is Bergman Island, which is, again, a film which I saw at the London Film Festival. Didn't do a full review on, and then it came out in cinemas over here in the UK, and I really enjoyed it the first time I saw it, but I enjoyed it a lot more the second time because, I don't know, it's just got this really engrossing and laid back, relaxed atmosphere to the whole thing. It's basically a writing couple that go over to the island where Bergman wrote a lot of his stuff and made a lot of his stuff, and it's kind of a look at their relationship through the creative process. It's kind of got this film within a film thing, and it's got all these different layers to it. It's one of those films just kind of about whatever you want it to be about. It's just a very relaxed way through these couples and these characters and these stories. A brilliant cast, all delivering just very, I keep saying the word, relaxed performances, but it's just a very relaxed film. I like that. We like relaxing films. Just good, solid stuff. Nothing incredible, nothing mind-blowing, but certainly a good old time. Which is a similar sentiment that I thought to the next film I saw in the cinemas, which was Good Luck to You, Leo Grande. This one I didn't know a huge amount about, other than that Emma Thompson was in it. No, that's actually it. That's all I knew. So I obviously went and saw it. She crushes it. This is one of the best performances I've seen from her for quite some time. It's about an older, widowed woman that decides she wants some excitement in her life, so she hires an escort at a hotel room. And the film is basically just them chatting, really. Them getting to know each other and getting to know his profession and all that stuff. And first and foremost, I feel like it's a good film in terms of giving a good perspective from sex workers, on sex workers. I just like that. I like seeing that explored on camera because we don't tend to see it explored a lot. It's a really sharply written film. It's got good wit to it. It's charming. It's a very charming film overall. And obviously that comes from Emma Thompson being Emma Thompson, but also Daryl McCormack here as the escort in question is brilliant, and the two work really, really well together. They've got good chemistry and a good on-screen relationship, which makes it just much more engrossing. I haven't got a huge desire to go and check out again, but it was a good time at the cinema. So, like, what more could you ask for, really? Well, I guess a better all-time... there is more you could ask for, yeah, for sure. But another 2022 cinema release that I caught, not in cinemas, but I waited until it came out to rent, because but that's what you do when something goes out of cinema, I guess. It's Marry Me, which I just talked specifically on the last month on Letterboxd I did for July, so I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but it's a rom-com starring J-Lo and Owen Wilson as a guy that goes to a concert and holds up a sign that says "Marry Me," and she marries him. But this is like a genuine, quite charming rom-com, and has no right to be as enjoyable as it is for a premise like that. This should have been a 2000 rom-com, and I kind of love that it just got made now in 2022. Elvis was another film more recently that came out in cinemas. It's a new Baz Luhrmann. Again, I touched on this briefly in my last month on Letterboxd, so I won't go into a huge amount of details, but I loved this thing. I really loved it. Like, I didn't expect to like this film as much as I did because the trailers looked like shite. And as we all know with Baz Luhrmann, even though I mean, he made one of the best films of all time with Moulin Rouge, but with new Baz Luhrmann projects, there's always a fear that this is going to be one where you're like, oh, you're just doing shit for the sake of doing shit, and it's not fun. And weirdly, like, I'm not sure that this film isn't just doing shit for the sake of doing shit, but my God, is it fun? My God, is it engaging? It's just a hoot. I've seen some very peculiar takes online recently that were like, Elvis is terrible because if you took away all the big over-the-top pompousness, what have you got? No shit. Imagine watching any Spielberg film and being like, look, man, didn't like it. Oh, how come? Well, if you took away everything Spielberg does as a director, it's just a boring film. Dude, you can't just take away the thing that makes this film and then be like, without that, it sucks. And guess what? It has it. So it's in there. So it is good. If you took away the thing that was great about this film, it would suck. No shit, my guy. Yeah, I loved the overtopness of this film. I loved the transitions. I loved the bazziness of this thing. The soundtrack for this thing was pretty Rice Krispies, and by that I mean it snapped, crackled, and popped. Am I right? I had a hoot with it. I'd definitely whack it on again. Good stuff. But another 2022 release, which was, I think this has been the 2022 cinema experience for a lot of people, and that is Top Gun Maverick. Listen, I kind of was reluctant to go see this film in the cinema for a while because the trailers looked like shite. The original Top Gun's fine, like it's campy and it's enjoyable for what it is in that sense, but I wasn't excited about the prospect of them doing a new one. And then it came out and everyone was like, this is amazing. And for weeks I kind of got a bit stubborn, like there's no way it is. There's just no way it's that good. Like, cause I'm not entertaining it. It's not gonna be that good. I'll wait until it's out and I'll rent it at some point for cheap and I'll just watch it then. But it quickly became apparent that I was gonna have to watch this in the cinema, wasn't I? So we did. And yeah, fucking hell, man. Yeah, everyone was right. This was awesome. Listen, my take on this, maybe it's a hot take in what I've been seeing a lot of people say about this film. Everyone loves this film, so maybe this is a hot take, but the film isn't that good, right? Like, outside of the action. Let's put that to one side. The film it's trying to tell as a sequel to Top Gun, character-wise, everything the first hour of this film, I'm trying to say. Look, it was fine. It was very cheesy. I like some cheese, so it's okay. But premise-wise, it wasn't doing anything particularly amazing. So for the first like half of this film, I was like, I don't know if this is going to be as good as everyone was saying. Like, what is everyone on about? But this film does something so immaculately well from an action standpoint that it is almost impossible not to get hooked into it. And that is that it sets up the stakes of the final act so unbelievably well. So what happens is, even though I'm watching very generic love story stuff and character stuff and like bait about the first Top Gun where, oh look, he's playing that song on the piano and you know, all that stuff, flashbacks to Goose or whatever. There's this sort of feeling that it's building to something, and what it ends up building to is just an insane climax that is just everything you want from an action film on the big screen. Yeah, I mean, action-wise, this film delivers and then some. Jesus Christ, it was like butt cheek clenched City Centre up in that cinema. Good God. It is much better than it had any right to be, and I can't wait to get it on 4K and watch it on my TV. And I'll turn the volume down for my neighbours, you know, but maybe I won't. Maybe I'll fucking crank that thing. But another film which I missed when it was originally out, so I waited until it came out to rent, was Ambulance, the latest one from Michael Bay. Again, these are sort of films that I just spoke about recently on my last month for Letterboxd, which feels a little bit sneaky and lazy of me, but we're doing it. I've got to talk about it here anyway. Look, not great. Like, it's everything that Michael Bay has come to be known as a director in a film. So, like, if you're not on board with that at this point, you're not going to like Ambulance. But it's got a charismatic cast that are doing things, and it's got drone shots and explosions. So, like, at the very least, it's fun. And I will say the gimmick of this one is the FPV drone that he got hold of. He does love it, doesn't he? He does sort of throw it in the edit as much as he can. And because it's a Michael Bay film, the edit's like, nope, cut-ity. It's kind of annoying, but then for as much as it is annoying, it's also just so fucking, like, it is just cool. I can't help it. I love that shit. So I didn't mind that every time a character started talking to someone, it would be like, shot, reverse shot, throw the fucking drone up. And then the last cinema release I've got to catch you guys up on is Where the Crawdads Sing, which again I talked about in my last month on Letterboxd. But this is an adaptation of the book of the same name. It is about a woman that lives in the swamp. She like grew up in the swamp and she gets convicted of a murder. And listen, it's not good. It's just not good, this film. But it just felt incredibly surface level, predictable, but not even just predictable, just uneventful. Like, it feels like an incredibly uneventful film unintentionally, because the film is positing these events as big reveals and events in this film, but it's not engaging. It's a film which cuts back and forth between her time growing up and this girl's life living in the swamp, and then the courtroom drama of her being convicted of the murder. But it cuts back and forth between the two of those things, that neither of those things ever feels like it really takes ground or goes anywhere exciting. The courtroom never gets interesting in a way which you want courtroom drama to be. It's like the essential thing of courtroom dramas is that you've got a fucking courtroom, like some drama in it, right? But it's basically like, yeah, you've been convicted, so like go wait in that jail cell before the trial, and then every scene of that jail cell is someone coming in and being like, yeah, look, people just, they just thought you're a bit of a loser. And it rides off that, and I think it wants to think it's more interesting and it has more of a hook there, because it's like, oh yeah, we shouldn't judge a book by its cover. But dude, like, you're gonna need more than that. Like, do something else. And a hilarious plot twist, which I called right from the start. I hate to be that guy, but listen, I called it in like the first half hour. I was like, it's gonna be this, isn't it? And then it does like an hour of trying very specifically to misdirect you, which almost worked. I was like, they're not going to do it, are they? But the reason I ended up thinking they weren't going to do it wasn't because it was leading me to think it was something else. It's because it felt so obvious that I was like, surely they can't. Like, they actually can't do it now. But they did it. And it was so funny. That is it. Those are the 16 cinema releases of 2022 that I didn't review for you guys. So we're all caught up. We're officially all on the same page. I'm free. I'm free from the shackles of waking up and thinking, oh God, I should have spoken about that thing on camera, shouldn't I? No, I've done it, Grandma. I've done it. This right here is us wiping the slate clean. There's no receipts now. There's no bank of 2022 where you can be like, oh, I wish you'd done that. No, we're done. This has suddenly become incredibly confrontational. I'm not fighting you guys, but it just feels good, you know? Yeah. But listen, let me know what you thought about any of those films, if you had any reactions to them, if you agree with me, if you disagreed. There's a comment section there for that exact purpose. And you'll also find links to my socials and my letterbox down there, which is always fun. So click there and go follow it if you want to. I'm going to be doing another catch-up video about TV soon. Whoa, TV on the channel. That's uncharted territory, Stu. It is, but listen, there's been a butt ton of big TV releases this year that I kind of feel like I want to chat about. So yeah, look forward to that review soon. But until next time, guess who just bought Goonies Monopoly and is going to play it all afternoon? This mother...